Okay, good afternoon, good morning, good night. I know some people are still sleeping. Everyone to Freedom from Nigeria. This is where every single week we come to you with critical information that you need to know about what's actually going on in Nigeria, not just the sound bites, but the real information about what's going on. And today we have a very critical message that we want to pass on to all Indigenes. We're talking about Code Orange. What is Code Orange? We have seen a lot of activity that relates to terrorism, increased terrorism going on in Nigeria. So today we're going to be talking about Code Red. It appears that Nigeria is on the brink of being invaded by foreign operatives coming from Mauritania, from Mali. And a lot of them, as we have seen, are Fulanis. Buhari himself told us in 2021 that all those Fulanis carrying AK-47s are foreign Fulanis. So what are they all doing in Nigeria? Why did the Zamfara governor integrate 35,000 repentant Boko Haram? Who has ever heard of a repentant Boko Haram? And by the way, we just found out in the Kuje prison break, there was a repentant Boko Haram that was involved in that. So what exactly is going on in Nigeria? Let's take a look and see what we're going to be talking about today. And so I can share my screen so that we can go over what we're going to talk about today. And the things that we are going to be touching upon. So let me share my screen so that we can look and see what we're going to be talking about. So typically when we have our cover, we try to cover a few things. It's Code Orange. It appears to be imminent. We've seen movement of lots of terrorists into Nigeria, into the Southwest especially. The Southeast is under siege, and the terror is moving to the South from the Middle Belt. So invasion of the Middle Belt appears, from the Middle Belt to South, appears to be imminent. Seems like we're facing another Osman Danfodio type of situation in Nigeria. And we're calling on indigents that they must get ready to defend life and lands. And we're going to look at all the things that have happened that has brought us to this stage where not just us, as we have been calling for self-defense, but NINAS, the Nigerian Indigenous Nationalist Alliance for Self-Determination, Governor Ortom, who has been the forefront governor in calling out what's going on in Nigeria, calling out the Fulani, who are displacing millions of people in the Middle Belt, who are killing hundreds of thousands in the Middle Belt, and who has taken a stand to change the law to see that the security, the vigilante security in Benue State are armed to protect the Indigenes. He has vowed not to give up his land or waterways to any invading people, whether they're Fulani or wherever that they happen to be coming from. We have seen his repeated messaging on that particular subject. And then we have seen where Governor Masari is calling for self-defense. And can you believe that Zamfara, that allowed 35,000 Boko Haram, is now calling for self-defense? What is going on? 35,000. That's an army in just one state, right? So the Nigerian governor lets residents carry guns. They're even going even further. So it's not just the security. They're now calling for residents to carry the arms. Why are they calling for that? Because the indigenous people have been disarmed, actively disarmed by the federal government of Nigeria. We saw that happening in Kaduna, southern Kaduna to be exact. Southern Kaduna is where the Christians and non-Muslims live, and they have absolutely been hammered by the Fulani headsmen. We have seen the Zamfara governor, he gave the reasons for the call for self-defense. And behind all of this is the Ahmadu Bello mission statement. After independence, when he said that the new nation called Nigeria should be an estate of our great-grandfather Othman Dan Fodio. I'm sorry. How can people who just arrived, how can migrants, these are migrants who just arrived in the 18th century, claim that Nigeria, with Nigerians who have been here since BC, how can they come in the 18th century and he said that it is the estate of their grandfather, who, by the way, while they subdued, and I'm not going to say conquered, subdued the people in the north, the Hausas, were unable to do the same in the Middle Belt or in Yoruba land or the rest of the South. So I'm not really sure how a failed campaign to Islamize Nigeria now becomes a heritage. We must, he continues, ruthlessly prevent a change of power. We have seen that. The northern elders have insisted that there should be no change of power to the south. The north must continue to rule. We have seen other northern elders claim that the Fulani controlled north, not including the Middle Belt, has 120 million and 40 million Fulani. And we know these are not Nigerian Fulani because Bala Mohammed told us that in his interview in 2019. Then he told us that all foreign Fulani, they are bringing them in, they're giving them ranches that the federal government and the state government is paying for. 40 million Fulani who are not indigenous to Nigeria. So let's continue. We use the minorities of the north as willing tools and the south as a conquered territory. Have you seen that? Has anyone seen what's going on with NNPC, where they're dividing that up, stripping Nigeria and giving it to Fulani? You've seen the Dangote monopoly, a Fulani. We are witnessing where the vice chancellors and the chancellors of the universities are mainly Fulani. The people running NNPC, mainly Fulani. We've looked at this over and over. All of those in charge of external affairs, in charge of most of the revenue producing and revenue consuming areas are led by Fulanis. I think that qualifies as apartheid, and let's not even get to the Constitution. So, and he continues, and never allow them to rule over us and never allow them to have control over their future. That's the crux of the problem. The fact that Nigeria was put together in such a way to give the Fulani control. How was that done? The numbers are skewed. Deliberately was at independence, it was deliberately skewed by the British. That's history, folks. And it has continued in that fraudulent 1999 Constitution. So to bring you to current, there's a lot of killings. As of last year, the UN upgraded its number to indicate that over 350,000 have been killed in the Northeast alone. And in recent days, we have seen attacks at the airport, attacks at the train. We've seen a lot of kidnapping and ransoms, and we have not seen a credible response from the federal government, from Buhari. No credible response. And just recently, we had lawmakers calling for his impeachment at a time when they were shutting down Abuja because terrorists were encircling Abuja. Where is the Nigerian armed forces to repel these terrorists? Where is the billions of dollars spent by the Buhari government to repel this terrorist? I'll tell you what has happened with it. Citizens have been mowed down accidentally while this terrorist escaped scot-free. Shigami, El Rufai have all said that the federal government knows where the terrorists are. So where is the attack? Where is it to protect the people? We haven't seen it from the middle belt to the south. And listen, Walt, the reason why the attacks are occurring in the middle belt to the south, this is where the moderate Muslims and the Christians and other worshippers live. So we have both a jihadist agenda and taking over, an attempt to take over the land from the Indigenes. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about Indigenes must get ready to defend their land, and we're going to be talking about how they are going to do so. We just talked about what's going on in Nigeria, talked about the lawmakers that live in Abuja. We're going to look at the police, talking about what is happening. Then we're going to talk about the call to self-defense and the demand that the Indigenes must make for the states to follow suit behind Governor Ortom, who is doing his best to save the lives and land of his people. So let's take a look and see. Police raises alarm over massive movement of bandits. And we know the Katsina governor told us bandits are Fulani. Don't be confused. Bandits, kidnappers, most of them are Fulani. And yes, we understand that we have copycats happening right now, but bandits, they're Fulani. They're moving in Kebbi, in Niger State, in Kwara, and Oyo State. This is a massive movement. We saw a similar movement during the lockdown when COVID started. So now they're moving more people in. And with Ruga, where they're bringing in this foreign Fulani, even though Ruga was defeated, as Bala Mohammed said in 2019, of course, they're going ahead to bring them in. So I'm going to open the floor now. I'm going to stop sharing. Welcome, Stephen. Welcome, Balade. Welcome, Nache and Ruby. Let's have a little discussion about what is going on in Nigeria. I'm going to start with you, Stephen. Stephen, there has been a call for self-defense, and not just self-defense, but for the arming of the security. And we here at Freedom from Nigeria are calling this a code orange. We are tending towards code red, that Nigeria is on the verge of being invaded by foreign Fulani. So welcome, Stephen, if you can give us your thoughts on the things that we've been talking about.
It is very simple to say that the indigenous people have been pushed to the wall. And when you are pushed to the wall, you have no choice but to turn around and face your enemy. An American president once said, "Give me liberty or give me death." I can't go through the wall. You've pushed me too far, so I've got to turn around and fight. That's exactly what is being manifested in Governor Ortom's speech. In fact, Governor Ortom was throwing a challenge to the rest of the alliance territories to get up and fight. The phantom president that we have, and I use that term very, trying to find the right word to describe it. You may recall I sent out a video of the member of the British Parliament that went public to say that Buhari is dead. I said that to bring to light that while we're talking about the fraudulent constitution, well, the fraudulent constitution apparently has elected a phantom president. We don't even know who's ruling. And because we don't know who is ruling, another way to interpret it is that there's no one ruling. So if there's no one ruling, then of course we are looking up at a phantom president to grant us protection. And that's why all we are getting is phantom protection. In order to get real protection from our enemies, we need to take our own defenses into our own hands. That's the challenge that Governor Ortom was throwing to the alliance territory members and leadership to do. It's nothing new, because it's always demonstrated true leadership in being able to stand up to the anarchy that has characterized the contraption called Nigeria. But he's gone on a limb now. And it's so surprising that somebody like him, who is surrounded by no one, nothing but enemies all around him, is like a little Israel in the midst of all its Arab enemies that stand on saying, never again. And that's the courage the rest of the alliance territories need to gear up and fend for themselves. We have reached that point, and we need to stand up and fight back. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is, while you were speaking, I was flashing what the federal government is saying. Nigerians are fed up with the insecurity. So, Balade, on insecurity, we have seen the things that have been going on. Yes, we saw the Kuje prison break.
On insecurity, let me start by saying somebody said that Muhammad Buhari has not failed, is in fact a success. Now, the only way Buhari can be a success is that if all this banditry, Boko Haram, was actually in their plan, and this is what they wanted. So that is the success, which is now a failure in security for everybody in Nigeria. So now everybody in Nigeria has got to realize now, there's no government coming to save you. So you have got to have your own civil defense. We're saying civil defense. We've said, I've been told off for saying this, we're not going to get people to arms. Okay, I'll say right. But people have got to know that there are people in their forests who want to do them harm. So they've got to be vigilant and know who are in their forest, who should not be there, and have people ready to, I wouldn't say attack, I'll say to oppose these people when they're about to move about in their land. Last week, I think, there were trailer loads of Fulani jihadismen coming into Lagos that got intercepted. Now, we don't know, were they intercepted by the government or were they intercepted by the ordinary people? Either way, it is good news. But then we cannot rest on our oars. Like some people have said, well, the government did not allow us to arm ourselves, because when we armed ourselves, it was this same government that now sent people to them and disarmed them, and they were attacked. I think that was Kaduna. Now they've got to realize that now, whatever government says about arming ourselves or not, they're not for us. They proved it, because they disarmed you and let you get attacked. And when you got attacked, they didn't say anything. Then it seems like they even aided the attack with the helicopter, because who owns a helicopter in Nigeria? It must have been either their friends or even themselves. So they attacked you. So basically, everybody in Nigeria's got to be saying, well, look, we ain't got a government that is for us. So basically, we've got to have our own self-defense ready to go, ready to train people who can do it. I read a story, I saw a video, two videos. One was a man and his wife. They had got implements to defend themselves in their flat, in their house. Some persons now came into play to do them harm. And this gentleman was fighting with the husband. He did not know that the woman was there. So she looked around and saw her husband being attacked. He just got her big stick and hit this guy on the head. Now, when that guy hit the head, he now turned around to the wife, are going to beat her up, and the husband was able to get up his stuff, and they were able to beat this guy off. So it does work when we defend ourselves. The other one was the gentleman who came back from America and was in his farm, and his farm was being attacked, and he had to use his weapons to frighten them off and even kill their cows. And then he told the authorities this happened, and the authorities told him point blank, well, we're sorry, we can't come to your aid, and we're not going to come to your aid. So the Nigerians have got to realize Nigerian government, the Nigerian security forces, whatever they call them, they could bring in a nice fancy one like tomorrow and say, anti Boko Haram, anti AK-47. It's not going to work. They're not for you. So basically, we have got to say stand our grounds and take control of that, because these Fulanis have said,
Okay.
as long as you let us take our land, we will let you live. But that's not going to happen.
Okay, so let us share this because we like to share this so that it is clear. Because back in 2018, TY Danjuma, retired general, was very clear.
It's a mini Nigeria.
Jean?
Okay, are we not hearing the volume?
Yes, we are.
Okay, give me a second. I need to find the where I can.
Together, reasonably peacefully.
Oh,
Okay,
it's clear.
Stop sharing. You could not hear the volume, right?
Yes, we could.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what you were saying. Sorry.
Oh, no, I wanted to take an excuse to make a comment, but go ahead.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, are you giving me audience?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I
Because
just
I
wanted
paused.
to piggyback. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I just want to piggyback on a comment that Bolade just made regarding Buhari being a success. I want to speak in context that success is relative to the benchmark for
Well, he's been
measurement.
successful for the Fulanis, yes.
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely. You know what? It caught a chord because I was in a meeting this morning earlier on that somebody mentioned that, and eyes opened that Buhari was a success. Buhari was an absolute success for the Fulani agenda. That's why we're in the predicament that we are now. Yes. So, and that's what should be giving us the impetus to fight back against that success, because that success is to the detriment, to the woeful detriment of the alliance states. Thank you.
Absolutely. The Indigenes need to understand kind of what's going on is what we're trying to say.
Yes.
And so I just want to share the video again. I mean, it's really important for us to keep sharing these because people need to understand, you know, what's actually going on. They need to understand what's actually going on because the call has been going out, right? The call has been going on. So let me just restart this.
It's a mini Nigeria composed of various ethnic groups living together reasonably peacefully. But the peace in this state is under assault. There's an attempt at ethnic cleansing in this state and of course in all the riverine states of Nigeria. We must resist it. We must stop it. to stop it.
Okay. Very powerful words, which is what we're talking about today. That was in 2018. And we did not have as much activity going on, right? And then we come to 2020, I believe, or 2021. And we had Mailafia, who people believe pretty much gave his life to get this message out to everyone about who Boko Haram is, who the leader of Boko Haram is in Nigeria, and what the plan is. And I want you all to pay particular attention to who he says is the leader of Boko Haram and what he says the plan is. So let us go to Mailafia and share what he had to say.
And people don't give him his due. Do you think you would have tolerated such nonsense?
Talking about Abacha here.
General Abacha famously said that if an insurgency lasts for more than 2 days, government goes. That is the real and the truth. And let me make some revelations, because some of us also have our own intelligence networks. Okay. Have met with some of the bandits. We have met with some of their high commanders. 1 or 2 who have repented. They have sat down with us, not once, not twice. They told us that one of the northern governors is the commander of Boko Haram in Nigeria. Boko Haram and the bandits are one and the same thing. They have a sophisticated network. During this lockdown, their planes were moving up and down as though there was no lockdown. Moving ammunitions, moving logistics, moving money, and distributing them in different parts of the country. They're already in the south, in the rainforest of the south. They're everywhere. They told us that when they finish these rural killings, they will move to phase 2. The phase 2 is they will go into the urban cities, going from house to house, killing prominent people. I can tell you, this is the game plan. By 2022, they want to start a civil war in Nigeria. Don't joke with what I'm saying. I have a PhD from Oxford University. I'm a central banker. We don't talk nonsense. So don't joke with what I'm telling you. I have this from the highest possible authority, higher authority of some of the commanders of the killers and Boko Haram.
You said northern governors, past or present, Dr. Badaya?
No, current. No, they said one of them is the commander of Boko Haram in Nigeria. One of them. And they're not looking for money. They have more than enough money. In fact, he told me they just came back from one of the Middle East countries in private jet, full of ammunitions and dollars.
Did they tell you, Dr. Badaya, why they would want to cause civil war in 2022?
Yes, so that they can continue in power.
Okay. I am going to pause here. 2 very powerful topics about who is helping these bandits. And it's coming from both retired General TY Danjuma and from Mailafia. And we have even seen Amnesty International talking about the fact that these killers are operating with impunity, meaning they are moving about and not being prosecuted for the crime that they have committed. We've seen the International Criminal Court talk about the fact that the Nigerian armed forces, as well as Boko Haram, they have reasonable basis to believe that they have committed crimes against humanity that rises to the level of war crimes. We have seen Bernard Henri Levy, after his investigation into what's going on in Nigeria, calling Buhari personally complicit in the terror and the genocide of Christians and modern Muslims going on in Nigeria today. So we're seeing it coming from lots of different places. We've seen the information from intelligence groups and Interpol or the CIA or the FBI talking about the terror cells moving into Nigeria. We've seen that the Fulani militia is the number 3 and number 4 on the terrorist index, global terrorist index. And we have seen Buhari tell us that those Fulanis, those over 35,000, we were talking about the Northern Elder that said that there were 40 million Fulani, 40 million. These are migrants. All carrying guns. At the same time that indigenous Nigerians are being disarmed. Now, one of the reasons that we're saying this is code red is because we have seen the increase in terrorism. We have seen the fact that there's been a lot of information showing that there is heightened influx of this foreign Fulani, especially in the Southwest, where we have seen tons and tons of buses and lorries bringing them into the Southwest. We have seen Akerodu, the governor, saying we are being overrun. But Akerodu, stand up and put vigilantes in place, arm them like Governor Ortom is going to arm them, and protect your people, because the federal government has failed to do so. And we're not just saying this to say this. If we recall, the federal government, the defense minister of the federal government, told the citizens not to be cowards, he said. Do not be cowards, he said. I'm going to expand it so that we can take a look at it just for a bit. Don't be cowards, he said. He asked them to defend themselves against bandits. This is a defense minister. But shouldn't be cowards. So, defense minister, why are you taking arms away from citizens and then telling them to defend themselves? And I'm going to let somebody else have a chance of speaking here. Balade, can you please explain? Because people need to understand what's going on. On the one hand,
right.
He's calling for people to defend themselves. On the other hand, he is taking away the ability to defend themselves and also telling them not to take up arms illegally. Why has he not called for individuals to rise up, to be allowed to carry weapons to defend themselves? Okay, so while you're talking, I will bring up the headlines where he tells people not to illegally take up arms to defend themselves while they have not disarmed.
Could it be a case of game, set, and match? Because basically, everything's got to be done legally. So he says, "Oh, you can go and take arms." Wait a minute. You got to have legal arms. You've got to go and register your arms and all that. So by the time you finish registering your weapons, I think your farm would have been set on fire, because they know you're going to get your arms now. So he's saying you can arm yourself, but you've got to have them legally. So you go and get your legal arms. Boko Haram are looking and saying, oh, they're going to get their legal arms, right? We're going to burn your farm, we're going to burn your farm, we're going to burn your farm. Before you get back, your farm's now burnt. So what were you protected in the first place? Same result. So basically, we have got to like get the arms, like he said, then register them. While holding the arms, we'll register the arms. If they come and say, oh, we want to take your arms off you now, say, no, my application is in. You can go and check it. I'm holding on to my arms because nobody's helping us out here. That's what we've got to do.
They have not put a federal law in place, one, to disarm the terrorists, and two, to arm the people, and a third one, they have not sent the armed forces to defend the lives of the people. So what? How exactly are we going to do this?
Like I
the
said,
federal government is not.
Like I said before, if they say Buhari is a success, and his success is the insecurity in the nation, that he seeks success. So it's planned as we want it. So all they're saying to the people is they're just saying, just going through the motions, like to say, oh, well, actually, you can really arm, or that we don't really want you to arm anyway, so don't do it, because their guys, the bandits and the AK-47 herdsmen are doing what they want them to do, and they're looking to say, well, we want you to do more, and we're going to make sure you have everything you need to do what you want to do. We don't care about the civilians. Go and kill the civilians. We don't care about them. That's what they're saying.
This is what we're talking about, right? First, they tell us to go and defend ourselves. Then they tell you, don't take up arms illegally. How do you now defend yourself? This is what is going on in Nigeria. That is what is going on in Nigeria. And that's what we must have our people rise up against, because that's just not. Now, let's take a look at what Governor Ortom is doing. Actually, before we do that, let me pull up what NINAS, the Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, what they have said about, give me a second while I find that, what they're saying about this. So we're going to listen a little bit to Barrister Tony Nadi as he talks about self-defense. So let me get over there so we can start, so we can talk about, share this a little bit and talk about this, because that's kind of where we are.
We had indicated that we were going to tell our people exactly what to do to put guns in the hands of those who are being invaded with AK-47 bearing Fulani militia, and with the complicity and facilitation of our government and its military. Let us cast our mind back to how we got to where things are now. We remember that when the Buhari government tried the first made the first attempt in the National Assembly to pass the grazing reserve law, some kind of law that will create Ruga, Fulani settlement, Fulani colony all over Nigeria. It was blocked. After a while, they brought the same bill back under another cover to say grazing roads. Oh, there were roads before independence, all that. It didn't work. Then they came back, say, oh, Ruga. It didn't work. National livestock, which they sent to Oshimbajo to go to lunch. National livestock, whatever. Just something that will demarcate lands that Fulani and their cow could live on outside the law that prevailed, outside the current laws. And so they tried all kinds of things even the waterway bill by which they want to take over body of water.
Which they brought back. Mhm.
None of those things worked. Somewhere along the line, Buhari attempted to resort to executive fiat. So by executive order, he said they should bring to him the file of the grazing reserve so that without recourse to National Assembly, they will mark out those, lands, vast, sweats of land across the land. Of course, the people were already too alert to allow that to happen because they actually went to some places to try to set up having marked out on their papers where the lands would be. I remember they went to Benue and people came to chase them out of their land because under the land use act, all lands first, title to all lands first in governors. The federal government of Nigeria does not have 1 square inch of land. The federal government of Nigeria does not have 1 square inch of land, all title to all lands first in governors. Even the federal capital territory is neither here nor there because by the time we settle the larger question, the indigenes of that federal capital territory will be the one to decide who owns their land, except they give it up. The same thing that happened to everything done by decree since 1966 will happen to the title deed over the federal capital territory land that the so-called federal government is holding. So back to the matter of how where the Fulani marauders are currently operating from. Buhari then resorted to something worse. He sent out a signal. He sent out an order as commander-in-chief. You know, there's the office of the president. There's also the office of the commander-in-chief. Most of our people do not know the difference. There are things your president can do as president. The other things he does as commander-in-chief. As commander-in-chief, he then issued instruction to all the military locations that the lands behind their, barracks and battalions and cantonments, wherever the military is stationed, that has lands behind. Normally, they will have some bush behind the barrack where they do trainings or shooting range or all kinds of bush exercise in most of the military facilities. He then said that the Fulani herdsmen who are already here with the cow, who more or less challenged as they go about destroying people's farms, bushes directly at the back of those military facilities should be made available to the Fulani and their cow until the settlements are otherwise created by law. So, since it is a military matter, they didn't need to talk to anybody else. So, the backs are all thrown open. The bushes behind them received all the cows, and in the process, people inside, the officers from that part, from the Sharia belt in the barrack, were now in direct, residential arrangement with the Fulani, who then keep their cows in those bushes. So those lands immediately behind the barrack became the first set of Ruga across the country. We remember the incident in Okitikupa, where 31 buses or so came with people in broad daylight, young people, and the community people were, they became curious. They wanted to know where these ones were going. They headed to the barrack in the place, to the military facility in the place. The people at the gate probably didn't get their instructions in good time. And in that process of stopping them, the community people came there to ask their questions. And it turned out the people said they had just finished some training somewhere that they were to, it turned out to be Fulani men who were coming to be discharged in that number into that military facility. Eventually, instruction came while they were in that debate, and they were received inside the place. And later, the reason the community chased after them was because there had been previous batches of people who were not like that and who ended up, and they noticed increased activities from the area behind the barrack in terms of where the herdsmen go back to, So as it is in Okitipupa, so it is in Ohafia, so it is in all the places that, whether you went to Abeokuta, whether you went to Ibadan, everywhere the military facilities are, the Fulani were given authority to keep their cows and operate from those. So police, when they call damage to you, which police are you going to tell that, the Fulani herdsmen that were operating from military barracks? They've even gone.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there because that's a lot of information to unpack. That is frightening. Welcome, Paul. And thanks for joining us. If you want to make a comment, you can just raise your hand so that we can call you up. Reactions to what Ninas is talking about. Calling for self-defense, that all governors in the middle belt of South need to rise up with self-defense and giving information, clear information about what has been happening in our military barracks. In our military barracks. Paul, are you at a place where you can chat? Okay.
Not yet, Jean.
Okay. Balade, do you want to please, this is explosive information that people need to understand.
Yes, like
Explosive.
like Tony said there, Buhari.
I mean, that's frightening, isn't it? Frightening?
Yeah, it's frightening. Seeing that he could not get these branches set up through the National Assembly, the legal way, the normal, the right way, has now gone and said, oh, as Commander-in-Chief, I am now going to ask the army to say wherever they've got what they call institutions, to maybe take the land, I understand it, take the land around those institutions and put those cows there. But really, if Tony is right, the federal government has not got no land. So he has got to be saying the army is doing this. But the army don't own the land around their their so-called locations. If they don't own their land around their locations, it is illegal, and it is not their lands. Because if they say, come into the barracks or whatever and do what you want with all your cows, then we ain't got a problem. We can say, oh, look at them, they're the army, they're taking care of cows as well. But that's not what they want to do. They still want to take somebody's land. And like I've said, as long as you're ready to give them your land, they will they are ready to, may let us live, but they are ready to do what? They want to take our land. This is what Indibisikanu's problem was. This is what Sunday Igbo's problem was. Oh, as long as you stop killing us and stop messing up our farms, stop raping our women, kidnapping our kids, killing our men, we won't have a problem with you. But they know they cannot stop that. So they have to take us down. And anybody who wants to say, you know what, Indibisikaну is a hero to me. I'm going to do what he does. Sunday Igbo is a hero to me.
Let's focus on what we're talking about the barracks, that this is a barracks that's supposed to protect. This is a barracks that's supposed to protect Nigerian citizens. This is the same barracks where they are training foreign Fulani. What are they training? Why is the Nigerian Armed Forces training foreign Fulani behind the barracks? Who are they fighting against? And let me drop some more knowledge on people, because a lot of people don't understand, don't know this. And Paul, I'll call you up in a minute. Nigeria is part of the OIC, the Organization of, what is that called? Of Islamic countries.
Yes. Yep.
They changed their name. And their agenda is Islamization, period. And Obasanjo, I think, was at the time that allowed that to happen. In the 12 contiguous states, they have implemented Sharia. And under Sharia, which supposedly only relates to Muslims, we have seen goods, including beer, of non-Muslims being destroyed by the Hizbah police. Sharia has police. Indigenous Nigerians in the middle belt to the south do not have police. Christians do not have police. Idol worshippers do not have police. But Sharia, they've got police. They've got court systems. That is what we are seeing happening in Nigeria. And the joint multinational forces is made up of all Muslim leading countries. And let's be clear, this isn't about Muslims and Christians. No. We're talking about jihadists, extremist jihadists, and backers from the Middle East, from Northern Nigeria, Northern Africa, Mauritania, etc., all making a push to take over Black Africa. That's what this is about. It's not just about Nigeria, and everybody, all Black people around the globe need to start paying attention. We've got the colonial masters still there. America has interest in Africa. France, Germany, Russia. We've seen China and the unconscionable contract where they're taking over national. And they are building things in Nigeria, putting in Chinese language. Who the hell does that? We don't speak Chinese in Nigeria. And why the hell are they quarrying our stones? Leaving the clear way where they're supposed to be building roads, but quarrying our stones and taking them and shipping them to China. This is what's going on. And it's not just about Nigeria. The Fulani already have 4 countries, that's including Nigeria, where they have presidents. This is the Islamization agenda, and they're supported from the Middle East. They're supported from Northern Africa. As the Arabs are working to take over Africa. Do you know why? Our people need to understand what they have. The richest continent in the world is Black Africa. The richest, let me mention again, Indigenous Nigerian, Indigenous Ghanaian, Indigenous South African, and the other Black African nations. Your land is the most arable and has the most minerals and resources in the world. Wake up and get rid of all your leaders who are selling you out for pennies on the dollar. This is what we're facing. Paul, go ahead.
Hello, Jean.
Yes, go ahead. So, comments on the bombshell that I'm sure a lot of people did not know, with Nina's calling for self-protection and giving information, critical information about what Buhari has been doing behind our backs.
Hello, Dominic. I'm in a meeting. I'll call you back. I'm in a meeting. I'll call you back, please. Eh? I'll call you back. I'm in a meeting. I'll call you back, huh? Please.
Okay, Paul, are you ready to go on?
I'll call you back, Dominic. Yes, Jean.
Okay, go ahead, because this is explosive information that people need to know about. Our military barracks being used to train foreign Fulani under the guise of they are cattle herders. Talk to us, Paul.
Well, this is very serious, and I don't know what is going on. I've known previously that the military barracks has always been fashioned in a way to make it more Fulani or Hausa-like. If you go to many military barracks, they speak Hausa there as if that is a Hausa language colony or so. But what you said is true. That means all this while when they've been moving people across from north to east and west and other parts of the south and the middle belt, that is where they usually begin their invasions and kidnapping and all that killing. The Methodist priest prelate that was kidnapped the other time, he said that those who kidnapped him, they are in collude with the nearby military checkpoint around there. So I think our people should be more aware and demand that those people leave those areas, because the military cannot annex people's land and use it as a cattle settlement. I was living in Abuja some years back. They used to annex a whole lot of land behind, far from up to 10, 15 kilometers away from their barracks. So, and this is what they do elsewhere. This is really a big cause for concern. And like you said, they must have been training them, arming them, giving them arms and all what's not. I think we should wake up. Our press down south, I don't know what they are doing. Many of them have been bought over and they are working for the government against their people. So we should create more awareness globally about these invasions. I like what the Benue governor just did recently, and
wait a minute.
I hope they will continue that way. Hello, Jean, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Hello?
Let's talk about the Benue governor, because that's one of the things that he has done is just remarkable. It is remarkable. Not only has he called for self-defense, not only has he changed the law in 2021 to arm the security called vigilante in Nigeria, he has now upped the ante. And let's take a look at that. He has now
from spreading down the southern part of our country. But also because my administration of its insistence on the rule of law rather than rule of terror, and for always standing with my people in their refusal to surrender their land, identity, and Judeo-Christian faith, and other values to the Islamization agenda that is going on in our country today. As you're already aware, aside the open grazing and
I can't hear you, Jim.
Sorry, guys, I didn't realize I was muted. I didn't want the noise. What I'm trying to say is that I was just stopping that there because the Governor Ortom had signed the law into effect and he took some time to do that. He's done the work. Now we've seen the Katsina governor, Zamfara governor. They're all stepping up. Where are the rest of the middle belt to the South governors? Where are they in this process? And this is where people power must rise up. They are fleeing Abuja. They are not defending Abuja. So we have heard Shehu, what's his name? Shehu Garba and others talk about the fact that the plan of Buhari is to hand over the governor, the ruling of Nigeria to these bandits in Abuja. And we see it playing out. Where is the defense of Abuja? Where is the defense of Nigeria? Where is it? People must rise up and demand that each governor in the middle belt to the south protect their people. The laws must be put in place. They don't have to go and look for the laws. Benue has it. Zamfara has it. Katsina has it. They can go get it there and get it into place. I'm going to let somebody else speak. Balade, if you want to talk about what Ortom is talking about here. Protection of the people from
yes,
the jihadist agenda.
It is nice that the governor has finally realized that the buck stops with him. Because, I mean,
he has always been in the forefront. He's not
okay,
just
maybe I didn't know that.
Yes,
yeah,
he has been the only governor that has resisted before anybody else who he put in place the anti-grazing law. And that's why they have been hammering Benue and the Middle Belt relentlessly, trying to break him. They even tried to kill him on numerous occasions.
Yes. These things have to be done by the state has, I think they get a security quota from the federal government. If they do, what do they do with that security quota? Does it go on security? I say it doesn't. It has now got to start coming. The government, the people have got to demand, look, you get a security quota from the federal government. You spend it on security. We want that security quota to be spent on security, and you've got to do it. All other governments that are reluctant saying, you know what, we might do that, but not now. They've got to be pulled, string into their houses or whatever they're going to be like. Look, these are the bills you need to put in place in order for us to get a security apparatus going in this state. Because, like we keep on saying, all this stuff about this security is on the executive list. When it's on the executive list, the government say they'll do it. They're not going to do anything. It's just there for them to keep it not being done. So we go to the state government and say, right, you've got your security quota, whatever it is, spend it on security. That's all they have to do. They've got to spend that money that they get for security because they've been spending it on other things. In fact, it's safe to say that some of them have been putting that money in their pocket. So now we're not doing that bit anymore.
I think what is very important, and I put this up, Nigerian law protects the right to self-defense. Communities have a duty to exercise it. It was back in 2021 in the cable. So anybody that's asking, can we defend ourselves? Yes, you can. The law protects you. Yes, you can, right? And if people are asking, well, is it okay for the state government to put this law in place? Yes, it is. Ortom has done it. Zamfara, Katsina. Let us see Ondo. Let us see Abia. Let us see Imo. Let us see Bayelsa, Kwara. Put laws in place to protect the people, not just, right? We're not just talking about putting the law in place. What he has done, right? We saw what he did as well. It's not just putting it in place. He has also, right? He has also indicated that he is going to be purchasing AK-47s and other high-powered guns so that his people are not killed, this security are not killed. He's purchasing cars for them. He's purchasing motorcycles because we know these terrorists use motorcycles, right? And they are going to be trained. This is the minimum that each governor, all politicians in every state must rise to the occasion. The citizens must demand, indigenous Nigerians must demand this. Because as you heard Mailafia talking about, they want to finish the rural killings, then they're going to start killing prominent Nigerians. Well, they're already doing that. We've seen countless headlines where they are taking monarchs and killing them. That's what Osman Danfodio did in the House of Life. That's exactly the MO. Kill the leaders. And what are they putting in place? We talked about this a few weeks ago. They're putting in emirs and serikis in our land. There are no serikis and emirs in the middle belt to the south, and that must be stopped. Each governor must send them back. Every single emir from the middle belt to the south needs to be sent back from where they came. We don't have those. We have our Obas, we have our chiefs, and they don't belong there. They have infestac, right? They put in infestac.
Yeah. And
right.
And Port Harcourt.
And Port Harcourt, which the governor has said you have a amount of time to remove that.
Move him. Yeah.
It doesn't belong in our culture. They need to go back. Now, this is why Nigeria was never meant to be indivisible, dissoluble. No, Nigeria was meant to be separate nations under one small central government for the sake of economies of scale. It was determined that Nigeria could not survive as one nation, but the Fulani Caliphate, supported by the British, continuing to be supported by the British, put this fraudulent constitution in place. Where is the referendum for this constitution? Where is it? It's nowhere to be seen. So it's not just that we have to, that we have to put these laws in place, but we also have to train these people so that it's not a suicide mission. Because these people are being trained, they have been trained, and they have brought in the children, the Almajiri, who are child killers. We've seen all the studies that show that that's who these kids are. So our people must be vigilant about those Almajiri who are trained killers and the older ones. These are all the army that Mailafia was talking about are already in the forest. We know they're in the forest. Even Bala Mohammed, when he was talking about that fraudulent Ruga that they call pasteurization, talks about, oh, these are nefarious elements in the forest. Fulani, that's who they are. Katsina governor told us, bandits, Fulani. Mailafia told us, bandits, Fulani, Boko Haram, they're all the same.
They go meet them on regular basis.
So, I mean, this is what we're facing. So this is what Ortom, he's promising to legally procure AK-47, AK-49, and others for volunteer guards. This was just on the 4th of August. My people, wait there for Nigeria. Make una shine una ayo. Make una shine una ayo. If you know, raise up. Come tell your governor, say, make him do what in Governor Ortom they do. When I go die, one by one, because federal government, what's his name? Danjuma, don't tell una. They collude. You know what the collusion means? It means
Collude.
them and the bandits and the Fulani and the Boko Haram, they work together.
They're in
Right?
conspiracy. They are conspiracy. They are in
They
conspiracy.
work together. Now him collude be. Now me tell you, so if una they wait for federal government, una go die one by one. Mailafia tell una the same thing. Even the International Criminal Court, in talks in Nigeria Armed Forces, the wickedness, what did they do for people? They even talk say that one a war crime. You know how they talk say Russia they do war crime for Ukraine. Now the same thing that they talk for Nigeria. Maybe gonna shine on eye. The time don't reach you. When they see this Fulani they come, una they wrong. Where una they wrong go? Which country una go? They want to take your land. Una go tell them say that no be so. Now we dey here first. And now your governors una go to his office. Go to the local government office. Make una go there. Make una protest. So tell them say, look what Governor Ortom don't do. Look what Zamfara don't do. Look what Katsina don't do. You must do them for here. If not, you know, be with our people. We go find somebody else. We'll go do them for us. The time don't reach you. Code orange. Know what in code orange be?
Yeah. It's
code orange be say red they come.
Yeah.
And the time where red go to come. Now blood.
Yeah.
Don't be our own blood. We won't make it run like that. Make una shine on our eye. Make una open on our eye. Make una go to them governors. We could tell them, make sure they better put that law in place. Now, simple law. Nigerian law supports it. Ortom don't do it. Zamfara don't do it. Katsina don't do it. And the next thing Ortom go do, be say, make him put law. Say, if any bandit, if any Fulani husband, they carry weapon, now jail in go. Ingo con tell them, say, waiting if they carry that when we see saying that same gun, they kill people. When they kill people with AK-47, so cow go come be alive. What nonsense be that? Make us stop eating all those nonsense cow self. Make these people go come out, go them place. We don't get Nigerian cow again. And the cow where we go to eat that Nigerian cow. Which nonsense be that? Anyway, make I let somebody else talk before, because you know my passion, they run hot. They run hot. So Balade, I beg, help me out.
Right. We're still talking about the same thing. These so-called Fulanis, when they took over the Hausa lands, I'm saying we should try and tell our Hausa brothers, you've been taken down, you got to come back and take up your rightful place. But another thing they did, they will always tell us that come election, they've got the numbers. But that's a fast. They've not got the numbers. I've been up north. Okay, I landed in Jos, right? Before you go around there, you don't see settlements. And I'm going to Bauchi. You go into Bauchi, the border of Plateau State and Bauchi at that time. You don't see no settlements. But they would tell us they have the numbers and they can do anything with the north to make it up so that the west, or actually give us the southeast, cannot get any of their candidatureships on the presidential as a president, if they will it. If they don't will it, it's not gonna happen. Now I looked at it, I'm thinking, but this is fraud you're talking about. It's because if they do a real election and count the population as it is, we'll find out that they don't have population density in their towns up north. Down south, we have population density. So if we're going to say, okay, we're equal to you then, we agree. But we're not even equal to them. We're more than them. We understand the system more than them. And our leaders or our politicians back in the day have proven that they're worth their weight in gold. They've done stuff because they're up there. They will tell us, oh, little kid, he has the right to vote. Why has that kid got the right to vote? He doesn't even know what he's talking about. Or when we go to secondary schools, federal schools, the cutoff mark for them is, say, 4% or something. I don't really know. But someone down south, an Igbo gentleman, he's got to get 80% to go to that same school. They're not on the same wavelength. This house, a guy that was being put in. I'm not saying that they are that totally like that, but I've met some that are very brave. This guy that got 4%, he doesn't know what he's doing in this school. This other guy, they're going to be running rings around him. And these are the things we keep on doing. In fact,
let's get our focus because we're trying to get our people to rise up.
True.
People power is what a revolution is about. And in Nigeria, we understand obedient, we understand articulate, and we understand Tinibulization. However, you must focus on your freedom to your life and your property. That's what you have to focus on. Forget election. We're not saying make no vote. We talk, say, vote no supposed to happen. Because when you vote on that fraudulent constitution, you go bring them back. Because we don't take them away. Neither take them away for 2020. Maybe we not bring that thing back. But what you would talk say, we say, make una focus on freedom. They bring water bill. You know what did that water bill be? Even the borehole where they for the back of your head, they won't take. The Fulani won't take that one. Now, when they go take all the water away, now the 100 million people they die. Where Buhari they spend 1.4 billion naira in they buy security vehicle for Niger Republic. Him Fulani brothers and sisters went there for the Nigerian Republic. He never buy security motor for the states, for your states. Now Ortom, they buy that equipment. For the federal government, they buy for Niger Republic. Now the same federal government can't give $1 million. This one not dollars, not be naira. $1 million, it can't give to Afghanistan, where we get 100 million Nigerians when they die. Maybe they wake up. The time don't come. You think what I'm going to do now? I'm going to show the Ruga, because this is important. This Ruga video is important for people to understand what is actually going on in Nigeria. It's not pasteurization. No. It is invasion. No, foreign Fulani are not Nigerian citizens. There is no law that allows any Fulani anywhere in the world to go wherever they want and be citizens of wherever they want. That is a lie, Bala Mohammed. It is a lie. And they are not Nigerian citizens. Let you guys have a listen.
So you're taking the leap and starting business. That's awesome. But where do you?
This national livestock transformation. We understand, yes, NEC decided upon it. They came to that decision. They agreed among themselves. The modality is how it needs to work. But help us understand this. First of all, has your state, you're not one of the pilot states, are you?
No, we are not one of the pilots, but having seen that we are in that part of the savannah in Nigeria, and of course we have most of the pastoralists in our state, we indicated our intention or our interest in the program because we believe some of the mistrust and suspicion surrounding the very nice program could be assuaged, and of course we will participate in a manner that will bring the best in terms of global best practice. We are engaging the Netherlands and other countries to come and help us do this in a manner that at least it will boost our economy. We have so many reserve land and we have so many forests that are not being used. Some of them are being used by criminals, hooligans, and charlatans, where some aspect of criminality has been provided by that forest that is called Lamebora Forest and the Yankari precincts. So outside the agitation or advocacy of the environmentalists and those that are more concerned with the fauna and flora, we will be able to provide a salutary effect to the country because we have over 3,000 square kilometers of land that is in the savannah, in a lush vegetation that can be used for this kind of program, even to serve the nation. And while we are doing it as the federal government has conceived it, we want it to be private sector driven, and we'll bring those who are more familiar with it.
Okay, if you say, because I mean, everybody we want to see that these killings end and there's peace and then people go about their businesses peacefully. Everybody wants to see that. But when you say that you want it to be private sector led, we understand that the government is going to provide 80% of the funding, the state to provide 20% and then provide the land.
Yeah.
How is that going to be private sector led?
The government not released any cover for that purpose up to this moment, but we don't know since we have not been admitted into the program. But certainly we have been working very hard to see that because our people are mostly transhumans, and that we have this vision to create an economic nucleus around livestock, and of course with all the value chain that we can get around livestock, the blood, the horn, the skin, and of course we will try more to cultivate that culture in our people, while at the same time bringing the Fulanis in one fold and try to arrest their traditional practice of moving from one place to the other. And that is very big, an uphill task. But I think we can communicate with them more, because to them they don't have borders from Cameroon to Nigeria.
But that's the thing, Excellency. How do we ensure that those who will be participating in this federal government largely funded program will be Nigerians?
In terms of the funding?
No, in terms of
the operations.
This is bringing Fulanis together. We have Fulanis from other countries.
The issue of misconception, I think there is a lot of mistrust and misconception with regards to the Fulani man. The Fulani man is a global or an African person. He moves from the Gambia, from Senegal, and his nationality is just a Fulani man. And as a person, I may have my relations in the Cameroon, but they are also Fulani men. I have relations because from the maternal side, I'm a Fulani man. And that is why we want to educate people. A Fulani man sees himself as a Bayelsa, as somebody coming from the Niger Delta, because he speaks the Niger Delta language, which you and I don't. And of course, we would have to just take this as part of our own heritage, something that is African, and that we cannot just close the border and say the Fulani man is just a Nigerian or this. No. In most cases, the crises are precipitated by those outside Nigeria. When there is a reprisal, it is not the Fulani man within Nigeria that causes it. It is that culture of getting revenge, which is embedded in the tradition of the Fulani man, that attracts reprisal from all over the
If I understand, does that mean that those Fulani men who are maybe domiciled in other countries who move around, they can come into the country and this plan will accommodate them as well?
Yes, that's what we want to do. But it has to be done through sensitization, telling them you have to buy in the project, and you use the language, the culture itself to be able to convince them, away from the mistrust where the whole system of transhumance or pastoralism is criminalized. Criminalization of pastoralism is the problem that we have with this project.
Lies.
It requires people with passion who understand them and who they believe in, people like us on that part of the country, to say, yes, we have this. Because today, there is no limit to the accusation that this and that has happened and it is the Fulani man who caused it. There is no tribe that is not, that we don't have this criminality in, but certainly the way and manner we do it is really exacerbating the crisis and the problems.
Would there be any form of documentation of all the people that...
Okay, I'm gonna stop this here because a lot of things were said. Really, a lot of things were said. Did all of you catch where he talked about foreign Fulani just being at, they just belong anywhere? Let them go to the US. Let them go, let them move all of them to the US, or better still, to Antonio Guterres. Where is Antonio Guterres from, of the UN? Let them move there. They should call Antonio Guterres and tell him that the Fulanis are from his country. Is he from Venezuela? Or is it Argentina?
Mexico.
Is Antonio Guterres from Mexico?
No.
I don't think so. I thought it was Argentina or anywho. It's a lie, Bala Mohammed. There is no law that supersedes the immigration law of any country. The Fulanis in Mauritania belong in Mauritania. Wherever they are, that's where they should be. They are not Nigerian citizens. No. And why are we spending our money? And I'll show you guys shortly. In 2022, Buhari wants to build 119 ranches that he's going to give to this foreign Fulani. Did we not defeat Ruga and every other thing? Did you not hear Tony Nnadi, Secretary General for NINEF, for LNC, talk about the fact it was defeated? And yet, in 2022, Buhari is building 119 ranches in the Middle Belt. That's apartheid. That is against the law. It has been rejected. Foreign Fulani cannot be fed while Nigerians are hungry. Money should not be paid to Niger Republic to buy security cards while Nigerians are hungry. You do not spend ₦1 billion to train kids in the north on repairing cell phones. That, my dear, in my estimation, seems to be sponsoring terrorism, because that amount of money can send 100,000 Nigerians to Harvard. And yet it was used to train how many? 117 youth to fix smartphones. This is how your money is being diverted. So, indigenous Nigerians, everything we're talking about here is factual. It is from the newspaper. It is from the mouth of the own government. You heard Bala Mohammed, he's the governor, telling you what they are doing with Ruga, which is to take your land. They want to gather all the Fulani in Nigeria, all of them. And you know how they're telling them to come? They tell them, say that they go get free ranch, free land, and your job. And the food waiting for your table right now, they go take up, because you know, say that they destroy all the farmland. Farmers know they go farming, whether in a middle belt, whether in a southeast, because Fulani herdsmen, human being go die, make cows survive. Now him, the Fulani people, they come. They don't even come from Nigeria. And I know so these people, they're foreigners. They get said this man wait for UK Parliament, they talk nonsense. They talk say, no be apartheid because Fulani be indigenous. The lie where they come from that UK Parliament. It's too much. It's too much. It has to stop. That's what they call our brothers and sisters for Ghana, for South Africa. They could arise, though. Not be just us that they come for. They don't come for you. Oh. This one, Arabification, not be just not Fulanification, Arabification, they happen. The black man, they under attack. And they call our people waiting for Jamaica, waiting for Brazil, Haiti. Make una know say trouble in Katanga. Some things they happen and it go reach you. The place where black people dey na land flowing with milk and honey. Now here people want, China want them, England want them too. Everybody they head for black Africa. But I don't know what you gonna get. When I go rise up all of those presidents and whatever they call themselves, where they chop on our money, they allow these people, they put you now in poverty. And the way when they talk Igbo, they say kitekba, go catch up. But una go make kitekba catch them. Time when una rise up, those people go fall down. Now him we talk about today. So that is very disturbing, extremely disturbing, to see the glib way that he calls the invasion of the Fulani. They're diverting money from indigenous Nigerians, from citizens of Nigeria to foreigners in broad daylight. Broad daylight. That's my power. The reason why they show this, so make una wake up. Wake up. If whether in a village you there, whether in a town you there, then they come. They not just be saying that they come, they there. You don't hear them say they there. And more of them, they come. They integrate repentant. We see the repentant way happen for Afghanistan. How many of them they repentant today? Now the way where they bring killers, make them come at night, come kill now. Now don't see them. Make una call una governor so. Call the governor so. Make una call your governor so. Tell them say they must enact this law. The same way Governor Ortom they do, make them do. And Governor Ortom, we thank you. We thank you for being a trailblazer. And my mama people place so. Me I did really proud. Now my mama people place. When I know say that me I be better Nigerian. I did for here, I did for there. I be better Nigerian. So I did congratulate Ortom. But I did ask Ortom, I beg, make you put law. Where talk say any Fulani headsman, anyone where they carry cattle, if they carry gun, make you outlaw that gun for Benue State. Make other people follow. I beg. We they beg you. Make you do that for us. I beg. So, Stephen, welcome back.
Thank you.
What do you have to say to the governors and politicians in the Middle Belt to the South? Please tell them what they should do.
Thank you, Jane. I wanted to say earlier on that, just like you said, Governor Ortom is a trailblazer.
Amen.
On the other side, he was considered a villain.
Yes.
I listened attentively as that stupid guy was talking about what they are going to do with the Fulanis. He never said anything about where the resources were going to come from. I never said anything about the other Nigerians who are actually indigenous of the contraption called Nigeria. Everything was centered on Fulanis. And what that tells me is actually just manifesting the conqueror mentality. You've been making a passionate plea to all the Indigenes worldwide to wake up. People have been so lackadaisical about what is going on. Some of them think, oh yeah, they are trying to conquer us. No, they're not trying to conquer us. They have already conquered us.
They have conquered your revenue.
Yes. Yes.
They have conquered your universities. They
Absolutely.
have conquered your every revenue producing ground. They have conquered. And now they are starting to conquer your lands.
Yes.
With
Now,
Ruga, because it looks like peaceful conquerization, as the way I could talk for broken. Now peaceful conquerization. Did they take your money? Did they kill una for with poverty? Starve una to death. Where they carry the money, give their own people. You heard them? Don't be waiting Bala Mohammed talk. They go give the money to foreigners. Can't give them ranch for free, land, your own land for free. All those people were there for IDP camps, the people where they can't chase for the land, where they did, they still there for IDP camps. Where is Buhari to give that 1.4 billion naira to the IDP camps? Where is that money? He's giving it to Niger Republic for security vehicles. When Abuja is being overrun, where is the defense of our the federal capital? Where the government sits? Where is it? He's giving 1.4 billion to Niger Republic. He's building a refinery in Niger Republic, giving them the contract to refine oil where we have no refinery. For South, we get oil, we don't get refinery. But Niger Republic, now they refine our oil, make they carry our money, they go. Maybe they bring more people into Nigeria. Which kind of madness be that? Please continue, Stephen. Sorry.
Yes.
I'm very passionate today.
I can imagine. A quick correction to that refinery. It's not only in the north. Tinibu has also given prime Lagos land to Dangote.
Dangote.
Yeah.
You know that Fulani man be.
Yes.
Now in lorry, now in cars, whether they bring, they smuggle these people into Nigeria. Don't be so. We saw it during the lockdown. It's his trucks. His drugs were hiding. They said that they bring a cow. They said that they bring rice. And inside, now these foreign terrorists, they inside. Please go ahead.
Now, the Fulani, excuse my language, idiot that was just on TV. He demonstrated a conquest mentality. The governors of the South have been demonstrating a culture of greed, which is preventing them from standing up to the unitary government that calls itself the federal government. But it's high time they woke up and smell the coffee and know that they are not trying to be conquered. They are already conquered. They have to make a choice whether they want to remain slaves in their own lands, only to be considered, I mean, to be made extinct in such a little time, or stand up, just like Governor Ortom has done, and fight back for freedom. We've been making references to the governors. The state houses of assembly have a stake in the fight.
Absolutely, it's the governors and all the politicians.
Yes,
all the way down to the local government area.
Absolutely, the 30 million a year in a security vote.
Where
at
is
600, yeah, that's the fear, the culture of greed that so corrupted the hearts and minds of the political elite is making them afraid to stand up and say something. Now, the only thing, the greatest thing to fear is fear itself. If their colleague, Governor Ortom, can conquer that fear, then of course it behooves the rest of the governors to continue to remain asleep and afraid while their generations are being decimated in their own lifetime.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I want to read something. This is from July 5th, 2022. The resolutions of the meeting held by the AG governor at the government house in Benue City with traditional rulers, LGC heads, vigilantes, hunters, etc. 1, that everybody currently residing in any forest in Edo State in the guise of camping should vacate such areas with immediate effect. The acting governor has mandated all acting LGC heads to use all the security apparatus, including the police, army, vigilante groups, hunters, and others, to forcefully remove any erring groups or individuals within the next 10 days. That one don't happen. It's supposed to happen. Every governor, pay attention. Number 2, the LGA, as a matter of urgency, should recruit hunters and vigilante groups who understands the terrain in their areas to assist in this task. Government also directed that such volunteers should be placed on monthly stipends by all the LGC for effective discharge of this onerous task. 3, provide the necessary logistics and equipment for this task. This includes weapons, ammunition, uniforms, etc. We have seen Governor Ortom doing that, just that. That henceforth, any traditional rulers and village heads who have collected money from any herdsman, therefore permitted any form of camping or grazing in any Edo State forest, should refund such money and ask that headsman to leave with immediate effect. Pretty serious. After 10 days from today, traditional rulers and village heads will now be held responsible for any act of kidnapping or terrorism in their domain. 6, to this end, recruitment of vigilante groups and hunters who will complement other security forces has commenced in earnest in all the LGAs of Edo State. So to your point, it's not just the governors or the National Assembly. It's all politicians down to the local government area, right? Yeah. That government, more than ever before, is determined to reduce and possibly stamp out the waves of kidnappings and killings that have pervaded the entire state within the last few weeks. Government also affirmed that it will deal decisively with any groups or individuals that will want to sabotage its efforts in this renewed vigor and determination to ensure safety of lives and properties of all law-abiding citizens in the state. Now, this should be replicated across the Middle Belt to the South. You heard Bala Mohammed. He said they have these nefarious entities. He means Fulani. Are they not the ones that are in the forest?
Yeah.
We have seen their videos. We don't have time to show it today, but next time when we talk about it, we will show the videos of them in the forest.
Mm.
We'll show the drones bringing them food. We'll show the helicopters bringing them food. This is, and did she government not say the government knows where they are?
Yeah.
Yes. When they go bombing, they bomb civilians. You know, they bomb the Boko Haram and the Fulani heads.
Sheikh Gumi knows where they are. Sheikh Gumi goes to
What are
meet
you talking
them.
about? The Zamfara governor, did he not go and negotiate?
What's the other one?
El-Rufai.
El-Rufai.
El-Rufai. Buhari knows where the bandits are.
El-Rufai.
Did you not see them take? What about Shetima? Shetima was eating with them. Taking picture with them.
Exactly.
Oh, wait. Does somebody have that one about the wanted terrorists?
Oh yes, that was
That
Turban.
was Turban.
In
What
Zamfara
was
State.
that?
Kaduna or something.
No,
It was in
Zamfara
Buhari's
State.
hometown.
Was it in Dara?
Dara, it was in Buhari's hometown.
Katsina
I
somewhere.
don't remember if
He
that
was,
was
he was wanted in Katsina, but he fled to Zamfara. That was where he was banned.
Turban. He was
Yes.
Turban.
Yes,
Made a Seriki.
yes.
And
And he,
Seriki, are you guys
and-
just listening?
and
A
he said,
Seriki.
he does not kidnap people. He just kills them.
He kills them. And he's made a circuit. Is again what we're talking about. Is this not Osman Danfodio all over? Which is why you hear Governor Ortom saying that the middle belt, my mother's people, thank you, stopped them from going to the south.
Yes, exactly.
Now they want to do ethnic cleansing. You had TY Danjuma talking about ethnic cleansing in Taraba. Taraba is in the middle belt. Southern Kaduna is the middle belt. Have you not asked the question, why is it Southern Kaduna and not Northern Kaduna? Muslims.
Exactly, same thing.
Yeah. Southern Kaduna is where the Christians and others who are not jihadist Muslims.
I've been to
But have you noticed that the
Kaduna.
government have now clamped down on reporters? Now they report that there's something going on in Kaduna. They no
Not
longer say
Southern
Southern Kaduna.
No,
Ah, These people,
yeah.
we go shine our eyes, though.
Yeah,
You really have
like
to
my
say
friend
that.
said, everybody in Nigeria, you will chop in the breakfast when the breakfast is cooked for everybody. Everybody will eat it,
Yes.
take it on and eat it.
What we need to understand is that indigenous Nigerians came to Nigeria BC, that's before Christ. They were doing very well compared to whites, Arabs,
Yes.
everybody else. We were on the cutting edge. The
Yes.
North Empire, the Oyo Empire, we were
Yep.
right there, whether it was
Benin
iron,
Empire, yep.
whether it was
Benin.
terracotta, we were
Yeah.
on top of it before anybody came. Don't anybody
The-
tell you that we don't have
the
brains.
Igbo- the
Hello,
Igbo-
take a look at anywhere in the world, though. Now, indigenous Nigerians, now them they do gone.
The Igbos are very commercial
Anywhere they go, there's no place in this world you will go. Any corner you will not see an Igbo man selling something.
He's doing something very, very commercialized brains. They know how to do it.
Exactly. But we have the whole thing about the indigenous nations.
Yeah.
Is the wealth, the intellectual superiority that they have. But the poverty that the West has instilled is just crushing. And I wanted to show this video. I'm going to let Stephen talk while I look for this video, because it's the video where they're talking about the fact that the West and others want to keep Africa poor. They need Africa to be poor for them to continue to rise. And the reason I want to end with this is a call to all Black people around the world, not just in Africa. Wherever you are under attack. You are under attack because the land that you are on,
They want it.
most valuable land. So Stephen, let me have you.
Yes, I just wanted to say again to those southern governors that are sleeping with fire on their roofs, that they are about to get burned and burned real fast. We had news of a tragedy yesterday in Ogbomoso. Ogbomoso is along the route to the north. The Fulanis just ran into the city. So they've moved from Owo now.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot imagine how the value of human life has depreciated to just $30 million a month, that people want to risk the lives of 30 at least 30 million Indigenes, all for a few pieces of silver. Much so that they've lost their conscience to what they call it, the worthless naira, that they can stand up to this unitary government and say enough is enough. I mean, what does it profit them? That the paper keeps getting worthless and worthless by the day. They keep amassing it. Governors, if you close your eyes in death today, you're only going back into the grave with the skin that you came on. None of those. But your generations will continue to be enslaved. Now, if you've lost your conscience so much that it doesn't even bother you, just go ahead and do nothing. But history will record who was in power when the non-Indigenes, the Fulanis, came and captured your country, conquered your people, raped your women. You were empowered to do something about it, and you did nothing. Thank you.
Yes. Balade?
Yeah, same thing in close. I don't want to go off. We really got to try and understand these Fulanis, where they came from, and the lies they perpetrated over us and made us believe. Because I was made to believe that these people were idiots, they're imbeciles, they got no sense. But unfortunately, they got more sense than the rest of us put together, because they only want one thing: power and dominate, command and conquer. That's all they're interested in. Anything else, they're not with us. So we say, oh, we got all these fine plans to make Nigeria great. No, they just want to command and conquer, basically. If it's not command and conquer, they're not interested in it. So look at everything they do. I mean, them rolling on Abuja now. Why are they rolling on Abuja now? Because Buhari is almost out of office. We can do anything to him. He's a lame duck president. It doesn't matter. They can roll on Buhari on Abuja now because basically they control things. And they can probably tell us, like, look, they can tell us now, if you want to come into Abuja to go and represent your state in the House of Assembly or whatever, you got to first talk to us. What kind of nation is that? That is what we become. We have, and the funny thing is this: the army could have prevented all this. It's just that the army was not for the people. Never had been, never will be. They have never been for the people. So they are another slug in this whole thing, which actually works for who? Those Fulani people. Like you said, when you go into any military installation, they're always speaking Hausa or the Fulani. The language is similar. You want to take in Yoruba land. Why is this gentleman not speaking Yoruba? No, he's speaking Hausa. We don't understand it. They've got control of all our so-called resources. The gentleman controlling our oil, the guy who's got the oil in his backyard, he can't catch a fish in that river no more because it's been destroyed. And they can't say, okay, come and take your share of the oil. No, he hasn't got a share of the oil in his own backyard. Where in the world do they do that? But we tend to do it. Now, there's a group of people that have actually grown rich on the fat of the land, the oil. If people go and check them out, you now see either one or two of them come from that area, but most of them don't. Why is that? If the people themselves were exploiting their oil, and they were the ones exploiting their oil, Omona, it was like in Lagos, Omona, I think even Omona was exploiting his oil, we would not have any problems because they would say, it is our oil and we are the ones doing it. But they're not the ones doing it.
Okay. Okay, let's get Paul so that we can wrap up. Paul, we've had a lot of amazing information today. It blows my mind, and there's so much more
Yep.
Yes,
There's so
whole
much
thing is
more.
very-
Our people
whole
need
thing
to
is very-
get educated. So
Yes, the whole
Paul,
thing is very
please
scary.
bring it home for us.
Our people in the middle belt and the south needs to be educated very well about it, because many of them are still going about as if everything is fine.
Business as usual.
Yes,
Right.
and these people are gradually
Election as usual. This is beyond election, people.
beyond the election, and these people are gradually, like Tony Nadi said, they have their plan 1, plan 2, plan 3, and they are doing all at the same time. And unfortunately, our southern and middle belt politicians are just like slaves to them. They are boys doing whatever they look at. Lalong now is now their campaign manager in APC, and they're killing people in Plateau. They have not said anything. Lalong should be doing the same thing Ortom is doing in Benue.
Absolutely. Lalong, he's calling for troops. What troops?
Yes.
Which troops has he gotten before that has saved anybody in his state?
Yeah, it's a real shame. Then the governors in this
Plateau State, oh, you guys get up. All that killing. Look to Lalong if you don't do what you want to do. Make una National Assembly, local government area, Lalong.
Yeah. We have to continue making our advocacy through whatever medium we belong, and spread the news across, so that our people will sit up, because these Fulanis, they are out to destroy. That is what they are out to do.
Absolutely.
And it's really
absolutely. Well, what is that they say about themselves? They never forgive. We don't want unforgiving people in our country. We are a peace-loving nation. Whether you're from Western region, whether you're from Eastern region, Midwestern or Middle Belt region, we are peace-loving until you attack us. And they have been attacking us.
Yes, exactly.
It is time. It is code orange. Time for defense.
Exactly. And people of the Middle Belt and South, we have been living peacefully all along, doing trade even before the came in. So we have to do something about that. It's really crazy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is arm yourself. Ignore what Constitution says regarding 1969 Small Arms Act. Once Colonel Stan Labo retired. What we're saying is we don't want to go against the law. We want each governor to put the law in place, just like Governor Ortom has done. We want each local government to enact what the Edo government talked about July 5th. We're going to send it out to everyone, share it everywhere. Every person in Nigeria needs to get this, so that each governor, each National Assembly, each local government, all the politicians, their eyes have opened. Nobody them they run for Abuja.
Yeah.
Oh, they're not. Buhari must go. Buhari must go. How many people now? They don't begin. They don't begin. They carry politicians. Una know here waiting Mailafia talk. Now una they go find first the politicians. Now you're going to be the first to go. They already said so. Mailafia said so. We heard it. And all the traditional rulers rise up. Oh, you better go talk to the governor and put what Ortom is doing in place in Nigeria. You better rise up, because they are killing monarchs. If you don't believe me, go and see what Ortom is doing. That's what they did to the houses. They kill them, they put emirs. So every emir that is in the Middle Belt to South, they need to go back to northern Nigeria where they have emirs. We know gets. Seriki, we know gets. There should be no emir of Festac. There should be no emir of Imo. We know get that. May them go back. They go come out. We know what people will be evil people, no sabi what forgiveness be. You go kill one cow, they go come kill 100,000 of our people. Which one be that? This one done too much. Oh. If you know they forgive, go to your own country. Leave our country. We are peaceful people. Just leave. All of you, leave. All you unforgiving Fulanis, get out. We are forgiving people. Unforgiveness and forgiveness cannot leave. You're killing us. We are not killing you. You're the one killing us. Over 400,000. 6 million you have removed from the land. 100 million your Buhari is starving to death. Little children, they don't get food because of Ona. Indo send 1.4 billion go Niger Republic. Go build railroads to the Niger Republic. Abuja, they under attack. But when they buy security vehicle for Niger Republic, when I see Fulani herdsmen, they attack for Niger Republic. Now Nigeria, they attack. They circle around Abuja, where Buhari days. They didn't talk say in the general. This will not be general. I will go talk about this next week. Oh. We the talk say, oh, Buhari is complicit. Buhari is complicit. We go look, say, na complicity, I been a leadership. Then we will go talk to the things that can happen.
I was going to say, we should do this as well. You know, all our legislatures in Abuja, they're still there anyway.
They're not there, but it doesn't matter where they are. We're still going to send them the message. It's going to be coming out. The message is coming out.
We've got to tell them.
We're sending it to all of them.
Okay, very good. We got to tell them this is what we want. 2023, no election. This is what we want.
We want them to put security in place right now.
I know that.
Right now. Time is passing because we gotta train our people. They're being trained in Mauritania and other places. So, anyway, thank you all very much for all the information, for joining us today. We're going to be sharing this video because this is very important. And we're also going to be sharing a lot of video on our Twitter handle, at Freedom from NGR. That's at Freedom from NGR, where we're going to have a lot of videos from Nina's that talks about self-defense, that talks about what the Constitution is about. And also you can go to their website at Nina's Voice, voice.org, where you're going to find a lot of information as well. So we're going to start giving out information to different groups that have different information, you know, the Yoruba Global Directorate. And so that way you can keep informed about what's going on. UNIPA is getting their website together. UNIPA is a group that is uniting all of the indigenous Black Africans to fight this battle, and not just this battle, but also the enslavement of the Black mind, and especially those in Africa and other countries where Africans reside, like Haiti, or Haiti as they call it. And we've seen the horrible things that France has done in Africa and the footsteps that the Chinese are following in their agenda in Africa. It must stop. Thank you all very much. We're always here on Saturdays at 7 p.m. Nigeria time. And this is Freedom from Nigeria. We are just concerned citizens and others who bring you consolidated information. So you don't wonder about what's going on because you've seen it one at a time in the news. We bring it all together so you can make an informed decision about what's going on. They're all facts. We just talk to them. Thank you all very much again. And everyone have a great
day. Okay. Good night, everybody. Catch you all next week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.